Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial how to model a stylus and a base in Shapr3D. In this video I will show you how to create only via minimal sketches everything what we need and then add the details only via direct modeling. Before we get started, let's go to units, set everything to millimeters, and make sure our snapping is all turned on. We can go to the front view, zoom out, center on the grid, and we are ready to get started. Because the pencil will stand inside this holder vertically, it makes sense to start our first sketch in front view. With the pencil from the center of my scene, I will start drawing a line. I have auto constraint turned on, so when I go really horizontal, really vertical, it adds those directional constraints already. I draw a very incorrect proportion of the shape of this pencil because now I can dimension few elements and I don't have to scroll so much. So what this means is, first, this point we will lock. I don't want this to move. From here to there, vertically, the distance should be 20 millimeters. You see, there are actually three triangles. Diagonal, horizontal, and a vertical. There, it's a vertical dimension. The radius is 4.5. And then the length, that is 166. So you see, this way it's a lot easier to block a lot of dimensions and details into the sketch before we have to zoom and then pan a lot. Very good. So with this very basic sketch, now we can see how does this look when we revolve it 360 degrees. This looks good. This edge we can round by 4.5. Again, the diameter is 9. If I would like to round this into a half dome, it has to be the half of the diameter, or which is then actually the radius, so 4.5 millimeters. Here we can round this by 10 if we would like to. Not too small, not too big, but here we have a point, so that's a little bit tricky. That means this approach doesn't work. We have to modify our sketch a little bit. Still, the top edge, so this, and then here this point, I keep as they are. Because as you saw, very easily I can add the filleting during modeling. I will keep my sketch as brutally simple as possible. This line here I will remove and add a new line. Now from this endpoint to here, I would like to add an arc. I can go to arc, draw myself an arc to there. There it is. Very good. The arc to this line already is tangent. If you do not see the tangent constraint, here I will remove this. We can add this here. If we would revolve this, we would have down here a very sharp point. How can we fix this? Well, what I want is that when this would be a horizontal line, that this arc runs tangent to there. One very easy way is I simply select this point and then drag it onto this center line here. You see? And 180 degrees. So this line now I don't need anymore. And I can give this a dimension this should be 0.75. The tip has around a diameter of 1.5 millimeters. Very good. So with this done, let's give this a try one more time. Profile, the center line, rotate 360 degrees, 10 and 4.5. This looks good. When we select this, we can increase this a little bit, or not, based on how complex the shape is, even while this looks actually rather simple. Sometimes in direct modeling that is very easy possible, and if not, one very easy way is just remove this part. We can set this to 1, so we make this 2 millimeters, and then just redo this part. So the reason why I showed this is filleting takes time. Only do fillets when really, well, most of this stuff is done, and I can add the time in for detailing. Very good. I like this with 2 millimeters at the tip more. And you saw also with the sketch being that simple, it wasn't really much work to recreate this. We have right here a small groove. So let's create a line there, 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 and there. This should be 0.5 millimeter. From there to there, 9 millimeters, but please vertical. Okay, there we are. And I bring this in. This is roughly 0.5 millimeter, something a millimeter in. I can be more precise with the sketch. The nice thing is I can do now a Revolve object, remove it from the tip, and if I do not like the result, I can either go back, edit the sketch, and then redo it, or simply in direct modeling adjust it. Let me show you how this works. We will hide this object, select this profile, select this edge, go to Revolve. There we are. Very good. I will go to Tools and then Subtract and say from this body, please remove this one. And do I want to remove or keep anything? This cutting tool I do not want, so keep none. Done. There we are. Okay. And I mentioned if something is not the way we want, maybe this diameter now we would like to be 2. Look how easy that is. Let's say this and this, these two, I would like to move by 1 millimeter. Or not. Okay. And what about we make this one? This is maybe too thin, so 1.5. Very good. So I hope you saw that actually the sketch was pretty much just only the starting block, and then final shape exploration, then I do via direct modeling. One very iconic feature of this second version of the pencil is that it has a flat side. And I show you a little trick how we can figure this out. So we go and hide and rename this. That's a stylus. We call this front and hide it too. go to sketch, circle, and I draw myself here a circle. The radius should be 4.5. There you see. Well, that's 9 millimeters. So I kind of like have a top view of my geometry now. Then I can draw a line there and there and there and make a box. Very good. And draw a line from the center point to the midpoint there. This point I will lock. Here's my radius. Let's call this 4. And there you see that this tiny distance there is 0.5 millimeter. That's perfect. So this circle now I can remove. I don't really need it anymore. Let's take a look at this sketch from a perspective view. Select it and extrude it through the whole object. There we are. Beautiful. A small rounding to make it nice and comfortable. And there we are. And we can do the same here. Okay. Very good. So the stylus is done. Now, how based on this can we very quickly create also a base, which then we could 3D print. I will call this actually first Stylus trim, or simply use a name that makes sense. This is my front sketch, and right now I look at the side. So best would be to go to the back view or the front view. There we are. I will select everything. Actually, no, I will not select everything. The stylus, this I do not need. Here and here, this I will select and then move everything up by 4 millimeters. 4 is sufficient. Okay, very good. Then I can hide this one more time. So why did I do this? When I make myself a base where I then put the stylus in, I do not want the tip to touch the ground, which is why there is 4 millimeter of space. Okay, now to create the rest, that is super easy. I select this. Can I move this? No, this was good. I just wanted to check it, which means here is the grid. I can draw 2 millimeters over and then from there draw a line straight up. There we are. This line I can delete. This was just a helper. This point I lock so I can't move. Then I draw a line here and a line from there going to there. This line I will specify as 25 millimeters. And this point to here vertically, this should be 28 millimeters. Very nice. And this to here horizontally, let's make this 15. There you see I have some basic dimensions. Okay. Also here I work only with a very, very basic sketch. I don't need really much more. So this I will select the center line of the pencil, sketch, revolve. There we are. Cool. So this is actually now a block the stylus could rest in. But it's not very interesting. So let's detail this a little bit more. This edge we will round 5 millimeters. So it's very easy to insert the tip. Let's turn on cut section view so I can see how far and proportionally, for example, or how big proportionally is this fillet. When I then insert my stylus, okay, now how stable is it? Maybe 5 millimeters is in this case a tick too much. 2.5 is better. The stylus still easily can slide in because I have a rounded edge, and it offers more support since I have a bigger flat surface that will be flush with the tip of the stylus. Very good. So this edge here we will select. Now we round it by the same value. Let's make this consistent. 2.5. Very good. And also here 2.5 at the bottom. To chord this now out, we can select this bottom face, then we go to shell, and based on my 3D printer and how thick everything should be, how wide is my nozzle, I can specify a wall thickness. I will go with 1 millimeter here. Very good. This looks fine. Let's go again to a cut section view. Man, this actually looks visually pleasing. So we have a rounded corner at the bottom, rounded corner on top. Here, actually, we do not have a rounded corner. We can round this after, but this is actually not ideal to do it now because you see we changed the material thickness. So I will go back before I did the shelling. Round this a little bit. Okay. And now I can go ahead and shell this. Yeah, this looks good. Very nice. I went back to the cut section view. I'm curious, so here we have a surface. What happens when I push this? Okay, so this goes up a little bit. I would maybe like to have a little bit of a straight connection there. How could we do this? That's kind of like what I'm trying to figure out. So we will do the following. So go a few steps back. Take a look at our sketch here. Okay, so there we are. So I can select this and then revolve it around this one. So there we are. And then we set these two, we fill it by 2.5, but then at the end here at the bottom, I would like this to go in a little bit more. So I'm not going to fillet this edge right now. So I keep this. So I'm showing you the process how I would try to solve the problem of modeling step by step. So when I open the complete bottom part, then I will end up with a material thickness like this by 1 millimeter. Yeah, and then later I could just draw myself a new object that would go in there this way. Okay, that should do it. Let's figure this out. So cut section view here. Let's round this. Very nice. And this is all done. We will now open it from the bottom, shell it by 2 millimeters. I go with 2, so it's a little bit thicker, easier to see. Very good. There we are. Then we can hide it. Draw a line. And this should be 2. Bring this over. I just connect it and then specify the distance. What should this be? 4 millimeters. Okay. Then this profile, I will revolve around this axis. There we are. Show my other element. I will hide the sketches. And you see on here, the faces overlap perfectly. So I will move this in just a little bit. There. And then select this and this. We join this together into one. Very nice. So you see how I built this step. And now I can go ahead and fillet this one. This is actually now too small, as we see. Not a big deal. Well, because this is a flat revolve, we can make this smaller or bigger as needed. So when this is 2.5, yeah, so this has to be a 0.5 fillet. Because outer edge or outer fillet is 2.5 minus material thickness, which is 2, is 0.5. So this needs to be 0.5 millimeters. Yeah, there it is. Okay, very good. We can call this simply base. And this is now ready to be printed. Because of the based on the machine and how this angle is, we might need to adjust the angle of how this and this relates. Maybe this point has to be moved up a little bit more. Or we simply put a support under it, then we can print it very easily. Otherwise, this is now a base which we can put onto a 3D printer, and then we have a very nice place where we could always put our pencil to.